Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Today begins a string of busy days. So I wanted to hop on first thing and lay something down. Oh, what a beautiful, beautiful time. I know I say this a lot, but truly, I'm very thankful and I can feel that the best is yet to come. And it's so exciting to be alive. Whew. I want to talk about my abilities in this reality that I am coming to understand in a greater light and ready to share a little more widely about. So, since forever, ever since I can remember, I have been in touch with the spirits of some humans who have passed on to the next place from this world. And I really thought everybody that I just didn't see a difference between what was happening with me and anyone else's experience for a handful of years. But I do remember, I don't know, probably between the ages of 3 and 5, that I began to share little tidbits of what I was experiencing with the humans around me, with my family. And I learned very quickly that everybody was not having the same experience. And so I stopped talking about it. And for a long time in my childhood, really just connected at what I would call prayer time. At the end of the day, settling in for the night, I'm in my bed, and I grew up living in the same room as my mom and my sister at different locations. So I think that is what made my bed a place that I could really connect. I could relax. Obviously, I'm relaxing, go to sleep. I'm in my own space that is not shared with anyone else. And I was taught to pray at the end of the day. And so in the prayer, the spirits would come. And the main character of my whole life is my grandma, Sandy, my mom's mom. She is somebody that I only have known in spirit. She passed on to the next place at the age of 39, and I believe this happened the same year that I would be born. And I have seen her always as a, human spirit, but also a guardian angel type for me. Definitely a guide as I'm older. I've come to understand that her essence is a symbol for me, for my guide or guides. And if we are naming guides, then specifically, I would call her a guide of intuition, my intuition. But I kind of clump them all together, the guides. I like to streamline. And so she swirls in and out of the collective energy that I refer to as my guidance system. So, Grandma Sandy, also part of my namesake. My full name is Cassandra, and Sandra, my grandmother's name, is a large portion of what I was named, and I feel very, very honored. I have another grandmother who is part of my namesake, and I can feel her spirit as well with me. Her name is Carol Ann. So my mom, very, very fun, awesome mom, the best mom that I could have ever chosen. She took the CA from Carol, tacked that in front of the Sandra, Cassandra, and gave me the middle name Ann. So my name is literally a collection of my grandmothers. And I would say the grandmother energy I feel weaved throughout my daily experience. And I'm very thankful for that. So, you know, this ability to be in touch with spirit, as I got older, I realized more and more it was not a lot of people that could do this. And I didn't even know that's what I was doing. Let's be real. I didn't know. I just knew that when I shared about these experiences with energies or entities that were not in this physical form with my loved ones, it wasn't something everybody was experiencing. And that made me feel like it's for me. It doesn't need to be shared, I guess. And I grew up, and as I got older, there wasn't a lot of characters like this, at least ones that would talk about their experiences in the normal day-to-day. On TV, I started seeing some mediums. There was some television shows where mediums would give readings to the audience, whoever would come through, and a psychic here or there. But I honestly didn't even connect that those were the skills I was using, which is so trippy to think about now. I just wasn't seeking out information about it, I guess. I liked to watch the medium shows, and my mom, I think that she liked to watch them here and there. And I remember her at least once saying she would like to go see a medium to get in touch with her mom or her dad or other loved ones that had passed on. And I remember thinking, I mean, she could do it. I felt like she could get in touch with them. It just seemed like a skill that we all had. That was my understanding of it. So, the older I got, the less I wanted to be super in touch with it, I guess. I started using food to mask the awareness of these experiences. And then as I got into high school, I began to use substances like alcohol, and that led me into a drinking phase from, I would say, the age of 14 to 19. And it started slow. I would drink at school because my mom was very strict, so none of these shenanigans could be happening at home. And I would drink at high school sometimes, not like all the time. And then, the older I get, the more freedom I create for myself. And in that freedom outside the home, I find ways to, and for me, it's not about masking. In this mind of mine, it's about having fun. I just want to have a good time. I'm not realizing that I am using these substances to mask a disagreement within myself in order to have a good time. And I feel that's what it made it to an unhealthy level. And by the time I graduated high school, I was 17. Every weekend, and it was binge drinking. I'm a binger person. It's got to happen fast, because if I give myself too much time to think about something that I'm in disagreement with, I'm not going to do it. So it's got to. And at the time I was really operating at a high speed, really just processing tons of information every millisecond and masking, and so it needed to happen fast. Binge drinking on the weekends. Not too long after graduation, I ended up in a situation where I was renting a space, and at that time it was like a frat house kind of, but with mixed gender. And we had parties minimally, I would say 2-3 times a week, up to 4 times a week. And, I was trying to start community college, and I was working and just full-time partying. And something had to give, so I dropped college because school at that time had always been a struggle for me. That was the easiest thing to go. And, this all led up to, there's just so many stories of partying gone awry, or partying gone fun, I guess. It's not the type of fun I would engage in now, but I definitely would have described it as a fucking blast back then. Lots of stories. We may get into that at a different time. And, some pretty monumentous events happened when I was 19. I had the scariest sexual assault to this day, and almost my last sexual assault. And I got scared straight, like that show. They didn't have to take me to jail, but I went through a pretty scary experience that at the root of it, my root in my experience, what I'm responsible for, it's because I drank more than I could be aware of my physical surroundings. And I found myself in a very dangerous situation that I did survive. I made it out of. Yes, that's why I'm standing here today. And that's a tale for a different day, but it led me to stop drinking. I took a year off is what I did. I took a year off. 365 days. Do you see the theme of this? I like to do things for a year sometimes when big transformations are happening. Big things. Took a year off drinking, really recentered, refocused, went back to college while I was working my full-time job at the dental office, and felt like I got back on track. It's funny how hindsight is 2020, because the awareness level, it's like I didn't know how to be aware of myself yet. And I just am learning that, honestly, like in the last couple months I've made huge strides in this. But yeah, at 19, I didn't have a lot of self-awareness. I was stuffing down, my abilities to communicate with and receive information from other realms. Wow, I haven't really gone through this in a long time. What a trip. All right, so 19, year off, go back to community college. I'm working full time and I'm doing great, pretty much didn't really drink too much. I do remember, here and there I'd go out with coworkers or whatever it may be. And then I turned 21. So now I'm able to go to bars and drink. So I played that game. It started to ease on back in the drinking, the binge drinking. And it turned into a routine, which wasn't as, dramatic, I would say, as my younger experiences. So I just felt like I was doing really good. I'm working full time. Like I felt like this is what people did. And so pretty much Friday and Saturday, there would be drinks involved. And, come Monday, I would get back to business. It was again like a release. It was a release. And still I wasn't aware that I needed this mask in order to have a good time. Excuse me. This culminated in a DUI. I believe I was arrested and convicted in my 24th year, so 10 years ago. And that was another huge wake-up call. Man. Yeah, jail's a thing that it's not for me. I didn't even have to spend like a full 24 hours there to know. So again, when I came out, I took a year off, and this is, I would say, when I really started to open up about my abilities to connect with other realms, let's say. I had made a friend, excuse me, shortly after starting work at this dental office. I had made a friend, and this is still a great friend. This is who I will be starting a podcast with, definitely by the end of the year. So look out for that. Judy is her name. And while Judy also would not have described herself as psychic or a medium or any of those things, she did have a friend who had passed on that she believed she could sense and that they were in communication with. And that's her story. I'm going to let her tell that if she's ready. But it opened up a safe space for me to try sharing my own experiences here and there. And it was really beneficial. I highly recommend, if you would like to talk about anything, if you feel like, fuck that. It's just great. It was great medicine for me to have somebody to share this stuff with. So, that was really the beginning of getting back in touch with those abilities. And they slowly came online little by little. And this has, led me to today, where I just know so much more about myself and why I have chosen to come up this way in my human experience. And at the end of the day, it feels like it is all for the greater good, for a greater purpose. And that is the intention I put out as I continue to explore my abilities and share them. I intend for my use, my experience with these abilities to be for the greater good of all. And I intend to use them to help humans and our earth and all of existence. Thank you, thank you, thank you for always lending an ear. This day 5, I already feel the exponential healing that I am personally experiencing simply by making these recordings and making them shareable. And that's only possible because of all of us. So I extend my extreme gratitude once again. Thank you, and I look forward to our meeting tomorrow.